Listen all day, every day on your favorite streaming platform. The clean, fresh sound. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
All right, good folks. So the time here in SVG, it is 8:12 on a beautiful Friday morning here in SVG. All right, we are into another segment of our Activated Mornings program, another talk segment, and we are going to discuss a topic. We are going to discuss a topic. All right. So for those who were on social media yesterday, or who had persons sending them things that appeared in the news, we were bombarded with incident after incident after incident, in a sense, yesterday, right? There was first that story in relation to a 15-year-old found intoxicated by the roadside. There was also another person found dead from what appeared to be stab wounds, and then there was another situation of chop wounds, chopping, right? Then there was also a video that made its rounds with regards to a fighting that occurred at the Langley Park. I think it's a primary school. Langley Park Primary School, right? So it was just one thing after the other, and I was telling some friends yesterday, I said, it feels like you might have like one or two positive news put out there, like where we really bigging up SVG. We're proud of our Vincentians who are achieving certain things, so you have one or two of those stories coming out, and then you have 5 negative stories to follow directly after, right? So it's almost like we're in this state of up and down emotions in a sense, but there was there was an opinion piece that I came across recently, and it was on St. Vincent Times as well. And it's titled "Male Teachers Can Help Our Fatherless Boys Find Hope." This is written by Yvette Gittens, right? So we're just going to have a general discussion, maybe for about like the next 20 minutes or so. Of course, this is an interactive program, and you can call us at 457-9997 to get involved on the discussion with us, right? So it's just a general topic that we're having today, or at this time, regarding the importance of male figures in a child's development, right? So Ms. Gittens' article, or her opinion piece, her angle is coming from the point that male teachers can help our fatherless boys, right? So I'm not going to read the full article or the full opinion piece. You can go on St. Vincent Times and read it, right? So just to give a background information, Ms. Gittens is a early childhood practitioner and literacy specialist, and she's asking that more male teachers join the teaching profession in SVG. She says it appears as though teaching has been viewed as a role set aside only for the female gender. I've observed over the years that most of my students are boys than girls within the classroom environment, yet more girls have grown up to become teachers rather than boys. The question I'm asking is, why do more females than males choose this noble profession of becoming teachers? Male teachers can contribute significantly to our social, emotional, and spiritual development of students within the classroom. The male figure is often lacking in homes as women continue to be a strong role models and breadwinner for their child or children. She says God's design was never the intention of having single parents. Nonetheless, most mothers continue to provide support and the best way possible for their children. The Bible places a strong emphasis on the responsibility of parents have in providing a good example for their children. All right. So she goes on to speak about male teachers. They must be respectful, must be mature to be able to demonstrate godly, respectful, and emotional support to their students. All right. And she says fathers within the home environment tend to have a positive rather than a negative effect on the lives of their own children. Even young men who are raised from these homes often show respect for others and display a positive attitude. Their deportment is often commended, and God's word declares that God calls young men because they are strong. She goes on to say male teachers can build positive relationships among students, break gender stereotypes, improve academic achievements in students, foster diversity and inclusion, and be a role model and father figure for boys. All right. So I didn't read it in the full essence. So if you wish to have a read of that article, you can go on St. Vincent Times. And I just thought it was important for us to talk about this, given that there are so many of our young men finding themselves in trouble or not being of value to society. And much of this may stem from the fact that they do not have positive role models within their lives, right? They do not, many persons or many children grow up in single parent homes. While it is they may know their fathers, the fathers don't play an active role in their lives. And oftentimes what is going to be needed is that persons are going to have to, or we would like for persons to step in to have a fatherly role within their lives. Now, it doesn't mean that in this case, and Miss Gittins is making a suggestion of male teachers taking on a fatherly role. Now, this doesn't mean that they are going to adopt children, right? They're going to adopt them. But what it is I gathered from her is that they lead by example so that boys can have someone who they can emulate. Yeah. I know that here in SVG, there are two schools that I need to mention who I remember off the top of my head who try to exhibit or try to have more of a bond showing between father and children. I remember this Stony Grounds. What's Stony Grounds' proper name? Is Kingston Government? What's Tony? I know it's Stony Ground School, but I can't remember there's another name. I think it's another name.
Why am I not remembering this?
Is it Kingston Government?
I think so, no. I think that is Kingston Government School.
All right. So just in case we're wrong, so Stony Ground School. Yeah. I know a few years ago, they had several activities, including a Father's Day afternoon where fathers spent time with their child or children who attended the school. I know that C.W. Prescott also had an initiative where there was like a lunch date where fathers went to the school and they had lunch with their child or children who attended the school. There was something that I was looking at recently on social media where I think it was either in Antigua and Barbuda or St. Kitts and Nevis. But the first day of school, fathers carried their children or child or children to school. So these children were accompanied by their fathers to school. Also, popping up on my social media feed yesterday was a session where there are students, so there are girls who are involved in ballet, and their fathers accompanied them to a class. So the fathers were dancing with their daughters, lovely. And it's little things like this. Now, I must say that while it is, I'm happy to see some of this. There were instances where there were children who were there, both at the taking the child to school activity that I spoke about in either St. Kitts and Nevis or Antigua, where a female accompanied their child, right? At the same dance session, there was another girl who was there without a male figure. And it's sort of, while it is, I was happy to see it, it also disheartened me because of the fact that I couldn't possibly imagine that there was no male figure who could accompany these children, right? And it saddened me because one of the things that we tend to hope is that within our society, where if the fathers aren't active, they aren't playing a role, that somebody, whether it is an uncle, whether it is a cousin, whether it is a godfather, whether it is whoever, steps in to play the role or to be a positive role model for these children.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. As it relates to the topic of the male teachers, male teachers playing a role in the student's life, I asked one of my male friends who is a teacher, and he sent me his response. He said, it is okay for me to read it. He said, I think students tend to gravitate towards me as a male teacher when I show them the realities of me being human too. I start each new class with an introduction, which would give a short background story about my humble beginnings. The girls see me as a father figure, and the boys tend to respect me more. When they have issues, they come to me because they feel as though I will be able to relate and better understand. The teaching profession has a fast depleting amount of males. Though the population may be small, their impact is great. The males carry that masculinity that reminds us about how a male authority is needed when dealing with youths in schools. I'm of the firm belief that the presence of males within the school environment and any youth-centered grouping would have a positive and great impact. They just need understanding, acceptance, and reassurance.
Okay. All right. All right. So we have Joshua on the line. Joshua, good morning.
Morning, ladies. I really love this, except you guys raise on a daily basis. Unfortunately, the message seems to be getting lost in the Bermuda Triangle.
Pun intended.
We should send you to look for it. Are you over there?
A few years ago, I was in St. Vincent, and normally when I come there, believe me, I do not come to St. Vincent for a vacation. I come when I'm there from the time my foot hits the ground. I do work. I do a lot of. I get involved in a lot of charitable work and everything. But you never see my name in the newspaper. I visited a certain church, and when I looked around, I saw so many men. I mean, men, successful men. I saw lawyers, doctors, and everything. And I asked. I didn't think they would actually allow me to do it. I asked my friend, who could I speak to? So I passed a note to the gentleman asking him if he would allow me to do just like a 5-minute presentation after the sermon. So he said yes. When I went up, I introduced myself and I said, I'm so happy to see so many men here. And I'm also saddened because as I walk the streets of Kingston, I see a lot of boys falling through the cracks. I would like to set up or introduce a system. In Bermuda, we have this Big Brothers, Big Sisters. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with that organization?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are. Well, I am, yes.
Yes. So I started, the wheels in motion when I got back to Bermuda. I rallied, I recruited a couple of the guys who we were all prepared to come to St. Vincent at our own expense to introduce this program. Guess what I was told by your people in St. Vincent? Guess what I was told?
I will
Give me a
know.
quick guess, man.
It's not needed.
No. Send the money, and we're going to do it.
Oh.
And this does not take much. I'm telling you, it doesn't take much to be a big brother, a big sister, Roleza, and singing Dianna. You don't have to do. You don't have to do anything extra. Like you on your show, you're on your talk show in the morning. If your little sister is out of school, take on the show with you. Just let us sit there with you. If you do knitting, whatever you do, men as well. You love fishing, anything at all. Just let them there be with you like a mentor. And I still see young boys and young girls falling through the cracks. And we, the men, the adult men and women, we have our own, SUVs and everything, and we're comfortable. We got ours and, to the devil with everybody else. It does not take much to be a mentor. It doesn't take much at all. And I'm still deeply saddened about this 13-year-old boy. And a simple touch means a lot. It's okay to tell somebody, I'm praying for you, God bless you. But we need to get off our knees and start doing.
Exactly.
I hate to be a stick in the mud, but I just have to mention this. Too many of our young people have fallen between the cracks.
Mm-hmm.
So Dianna, yes, make a look in the triangle. And seriously, when you launch your career, Dianna, come to Bermuda and sing and raise.
Of course.
And I know Roleza would be cheering you on.
She might be there with
I gotta be
me.
backup singer, man. I gotta be backup singer.
I might be bringing her along with me. She and my team traveling with me.
Yes. Whatever you do, don't bring Dave because he gonna chase the
How
people
Dave
away.
trouble you this morning?
Dave will call right
How Dave trouble you this morning?
I love to poke at Dave. I love to poke at Dave.
It's a good thing he could defend himself, He could handle it.
We know that. Hey, love you guys, man. Take care.
All right, take care.
Yes, bye.
Yeah. So So to get back, so yes, Joshua does raise a good point in terms of being mentors, right? I know that some schools, or at least one school I remember, did initiate a mentorship program, but this was female to female in terms of current students to past students. So they had that. But it is sad for me in the context where we already have so many young men who are going astray, right? They did not get the proper guidance that they should have gotten.
Yeah.
And now they become fathers. And who is going to be there to guide their children, right? We talk so much about female empowerment over the years. So much was done to advance females. And as we had the conversation off air with one of the officers yesterday, we as we had the conversation yesterday with one of our officers, is that we advanced women so much that men fell by the wayside, the boys fell by the wayside. So who is guiding them?
Coach just says the woman can't really teach a young man to be a man. So I thought before, they say a woman can't teach a man to be a man,
And they always say mothers cannot be fathers.
Right. And so we have a lot of single mothers trying to raise their sons. But, they still need that little fatherly guidance. And I think a lot of these problems that we have in society starts at home. They start when they're children, the way that we bring them up. We as parents, sometimes we really have to stop and think and look at what we do. Because I find, and this is a conversation that several other persons have had, Caribbean parents really don't take accountability.
Because they're never wrong.
They're never wrong. They don't take accountability. There are a lot of traumas that children endure, whether it's neglect, you didn't hug them, you didn't kiss them, and these things are manifest into when they get into adulthood, into their actions and things like that. Hi, good morning, Kojo.
Good morning. Good morning. I personally think that our society is failing our young men in a way that the older men don't see fit to impart knowledge on the younger men. And even if they start doing it and the child or the young man doesn't go the way they want them to go right away, they get fed up and just, leave them alone. As you say, there's so many women has boy child or young men. And I tell you the truth, it's hard for a woman to teach a man to be a man, a young man to be a man. It's not, and it's the same with a father. I mean, there's certain things that women go through in their life that a man cannot tell or teach his daughter. He still need that female to female, connection. It's the same thing where a man go through certain things in life that it only require it takes a man to understand it and teach the younger one. And I think we give up too quickly on our young men. That's all I have to say. And like here we have what we call mentorship. Where you take on one kid. I remember I had one boy. He was in gangs here. I tried to get him out of the gang, but when the gang hold you, it doesn't let you go so easy. I don't know if you ever heard the terminology, blood in, blood out.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I mean, right?
This is they've taken an oath.
Yeah. No. You have to give blood to go in, and the only how you're coming back out is if you're giving up your own blood.
Okay.
That's what it means, blood in, blood out. And that's a philosophy of gangs almost any place in the world you go. In dangerous America is anywhere you go. Once you're in a gang, that's your motto. And so I'm pleading that our grown men will take time out. Sometimes it's just an hour a day now. An hour, 2, 3, 4 hours a week. You get a kid in your home or in a working place or some place, and you talk to them and you show them how to live. how to be human. Because some of them, they haven't really learned how to be a human, you know. They, I'm sorry to say it, even here, I watch kids. They grew up like if you know, like dogs who just roaming and doing whatever they feel like doing. I think we need to take time out for our kids, man. As I tell you the other day, it takes a village to do this thing. It ain't taking no one person. And I think we lose the respect of each other. Because I remember growing up, I can tell you, this is a true story. One Sunday I was going to Sunday school. My mother dressed me to send me to Sunday school. Somehow my shirt wasn't tucking properly. And a guy who we consider to be a vagrant, they call him vagrant now, but we didn't call him vagrant back then. He called me and tried to put my shirt properly. But me, you know, he's vagrant, he touched me. So I pulled it. And my mother called me back and tell me, we're going on with you. The man trying to fix your shirt here, you better. And in my mind, he is supposed to touch me. But that's not what my mother see. My mother see a grown man trying to help me look decent to go up the road as what they consider decent. You know what I mean? And I get chastised for that because I didn't want him to touch me. You know? And so sometimes we look down on people and we look down on others and think that they can't teach us nothing. Even the crazy man could teach you something, trust me.
Correct.
If you take time to listen. All right, that's all I'm saying. It's just come on, I mean, people like just take a child and teach him to be a man. I watch how all these women and them excelling in St. Vincent, and not only St. Vincent, here in America too. No, most of the people who excel in it really is women. Just now, we soon might have a woman president.
Yep. All right.
You know, so I mean, we need our men to make this community work. It can't work by women alone. It's not no Amazon thing, you know. We need our woman too. We need our man too. We need everybody. Hands on deck.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Kojo. All right. So coming up from what Kojo and Joshua said, you know, some of it just has to go back to being interactive, right? Because we're not saying necessarily that you have to take on, let's say, a full mentorship role. But what about instances where you're passing the young men on the block, those who are older? Do you stop and talk to them? Do you suggest things that they can do, right? Other than sitting on the block, if you hear of opportunities, let's say that they can capitalize on, let's say, work opportunities or opportunities to study, etc. Do we stop, or do men stop and have these conversations with each other, right? One of the things too, and I have to, I'm not trying to knock women totally, but I have to say it, right? I think when we talk about fatherless children, now I know that I want to believe that most mothers do not set out to be single parents, right? However, I think that there are times when the reason why some women end up with fatherless children is they choose wrong, they pick wrong, right? Now, there might be instances, yes, where you might have expected that the person who you are dating at the time, that they would step up if you get pregnant, right? Or as a woman, if you get pregnant. However, we can tell there are some instances where some women just pick wrong. You know, you can see a man already has how much ever children. You decide to be baby mother number 5, knowing that he's not taking care of the previous children. And then you complain about what has happened, about him not, about your child not having a father. And, you know, as you like say, you what this daddy, that kind of thing. You know, so I think sometimes as women too, part of the blame also goes back to us, where we don't make the best decisions. And as far as I'm concerned, well, no, let me not say that, right? we don't make the best decisions when it comes to picking mates, right? I also do know of instances where there are men who wanted or claim to have wanted children. And then when the woman becomes pregnant,
I changed my mind.
they change their mind, or they are the most loving
so horrible.
uncles to other people's children. But when it comes to their own child or children, they're not present, right? So what it is that we are doing as a society, and we, in a sense, we have to look back on everything that is happening in that. And I keep saying, and I would always say this point, a man does not need to be with the mother of his child in order for him to mind his child. All right, caller, good morning.
Good morning, my sisters. I just want to make a short presentation on this thing with the ladies. I'm having a problem in Annisville. 40 years I live here. And I discover my wife is able to get through to the guys easier than me. Because I don't know why, but it happens in a home. I notice my son is willing more to listen to my wife than, so many times I say, Deborah, help me. And I hope you understand that. I don't know why. I am not an expert. Maybe the expert could tell me why. But I'm saying to get a man to talk to guys is really going to be a losing situation. I'm saying that some guys wouldn't have it. In our time when we used to grow up, it was different. Male teachers could have talked to us. In fact, they played a very significant role. In fact, the male teachers today, they're not. In fact, they're disrespectful. They conduct drives the guy. So you have to have a credibility.
Well, we can't put a blanket statement. We can't make it general. We can't say male teachers. Say there might be some.
I am not talking here from talks for talk. I'm talking from experience. You don't have the experience like I would. And I'm saying,
so you said all male teachers are disrespectful?
No, I'm not saying all male teachers are disrespectful. I'm not saying all males. I never said that, I said that the male teacher must be credible. And if it is a teacher that is not credible, obviously, but I never said all male teachers disrespectful. Never said that. Don't fight for don't pick out the wrong. Think about what I'm saying to help you.
Okay, it just sounds like you're making a general statement, and that was the point that I was correcting.
One last thing I want to say to you is that we are not going to get help unless we have an environment. So we need all stakeholders. We need the churches, and I put in churches first because I put the politicians first to say, hey, go again with politics. But I could say to you is that we were influenced as a young boy. I was influenced by leaders. And certain leaders had impact on your life. And I'm seeing right now, for example, Grenada as an example. I'm so proud that I could go on YouTube and hundreds of presentations by the young Mr. Mitchell and hear him encouraging young boys and young girls and say, I'm going to be there for you. And to say, we have to get back to God in this. It's important when you lead us, when those people in the highest levels set that example for the young people, and so more people can reach out. And if we had that environment, it would have been different, where, for example, now, young people don't want anybody other than their mother to talk to them. We have a serious situation in our country where we are falling away, and all the politicians have driven our country into this stage, and it's going to get worse. Unless we get leaders that respect God, that respect humanity, that respect the Constitution. You can imagine in a society, if you don't say what a politician gives you a script to say, that people are not even going to tolerate your very voice on the radio station. They block you out because you don't support UNP, you don't support NDP.
Okay, Hamilton. Hamilton, drop it. Drop it.
Two young ladies, you
drop
all
it,
need
Hamilton.
To change your conduct today because you all
all right, stop.
for this. You all
right, listen. Listen. We are okay with entertaining callers, but Hamilton, speaking to you direct, in particular, when you start to raise your voice at the end is when it becomes annoying. All right. There are times when you call in and you do make some positive points. There are times when you call in and you make some valid points, but you cannot be going off on a tangent and raising your voice. Then it becomes annoying, and then you wonder why people block you from the other stations. All right, so Hamilton was making a point there in terms of his wife being the one to speak to his son, right? I can take that point in terms of from an angle of Maybe sometimes some men do not, or some boys do not listen to other men because of the way in which they deliver their message, right?
Yes.
And as Dianna was indicating, sometimes some parents cause trauma within their children without realizing what it is that they're actually doing, right? So sometimes your method of delivery, and especially man to man, also may have may also influence whether or not other young men may choose to listen to you or choose to follow in your example.
Yeah, so for example, you see some young men on the block, and you walk up to them and watch I just there sit down every day, whole day, every day. You sit down, yeah, I can't go look for work. Now, if you start a conversation like that, there's no way. Well, I mean, there might be a possibility, but persons aren't going to want to listen to you because me, if you approach me like that, I don't care what you have to say afterwards. I'm going to just block out everything. Now, if you approach them and you say, hey, good afternoon, how you doing? Pull up your pants, man. All right, all right.
I have my yard to go cut. You want me to give you that work to do, right? You know, so yeah, so as a society, and to go back to our original point, is that when it is that we recognize as individuals that, let's say you're in a teaching capacity within a church where you observe that there are children who might be growing up without fathers, and let's say, I don't want to say especially boys, because girls also need fathers in their lives. We need fathers in our lives to see what it means, what a proper man would mean, right? In terms of leadership, the type of men who we should probably follow. Because there are some people who still say this thing that man is the head of the household, but a woman isn't going to just blindly follow a man just because you are a man, right? We have to follow, or we will follow if you are actually leading or giving us reasons to follow your lead. All right. So don't ever quote that, especially with me. Do not ever quote that for me. All right. But we also need, as women, we also need male figures within our lives, especially when it comes to the dating scene, so that we will know how to pick correctly, right? We need to see men who treat our mothers right, whether or not the man was in our mother's lives in a romantic capacity. We need to see that there was still that respect for our mothers. All right. So males who are out there in whatever capacity that you can, even if you are not the biological father of a child or children who you come into contact with, try to at least step in in a sense where you become more of a mentor, so that children growing up today can have someone, a positive male influence in their lives who they can follow. All right. I think way too many of our children are growing up without that significant male influence. And because of that, we see so many social ills happening as a result.
Mm-hmm. I think for too long and of course we could go back to all the laws and things in the Bible and things of the past that persons used to follow. But I think stemming from there and even up to this time, we just have this thing in our head where the responsibility of raising the child, that's up to the mother. I don't really need to. All I need to do is probably give some money here, make sure you have school fee, make sure you have money and uniform, and that's it for me. Mommy, it's up to you to take care of everything else. I think that's the idea that we've had for a long time, and we should see by now that it really can't work like that. Some parents, you don't hug your children. Stop and think, have you ever hugged your child? Have you ever said, I love you? Then we get upset when the children go out into the street and the boys cleave to the gangs, because the gang members make them feel at home. They make them feel a certain type of way that you don't make them feel. And if we think about ourselves as humans, we want to feel loved. We want to be where we are comfortable. So this is what happens to the young children, the young girls. Mommy never say I love you, daddy never say I love you or hug
and
you.
The first man to say I love you,
come on,
you
this
believe
feels
in
good.
it.
I love it. This feels good. So I'm gonna go to this boy, and usually we just blame the children, but a lot of things stem from childhood. A lot of parents, Caribbean parents, have traumatized children in their upbringing, and we don't want to accept that, but it is so true. But
all right, so we're gonna take this.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Look at us this morning. Hi, good morning.
Pleasant good morning.
Morning, Mr. Mason.
And how are you both this morning?
We're good. We're good.
All right.
Wonderful.
And how are you? Sorry, how are you?
Hanging in there. Not too bad time.
Okay.
Yeah. Wonderful conversation. Now, when I speak sometimes, I can't help but bring it in England because I spent most of my life there,
Mm-hmm.
And where I was living, it wasn't far from, we had a big park. And I used to ride a motorcycle sometimes, or a push bike sometimes. And especially on school vacation, you'll find about 15, 16 young men. They're school boys. And on my way home from work, sometime I might be walking. If I'm riding, I'll pull up my brake, sit, call them, and ask them, how you getting on in school? How you getting on with your parents? They might be playing a game. I have my uniform on, and I join them.
Good.
I join them, and then if they see me walking, Mr. Mason, why are you walking today? I said, well, the bike wasn't working or anything like that. And, I had 3 children. I took everyone to school on their first day. My wife has never taken them. And my youngest son, I remember when I took him that morning, the school roof, as I said, nearly fell off. The children screaming here and there and everywhere. And one of the teachers, she looked at me. My son was screaming too. She looked at me and she gave me the eye. She said, tell you what, slip out. He has to stop. He will stop.
Mm-hmm.
So here I love children. I can't handle them now anyway. I can't handle them now, but I love children. And I like to speak to young men. In fact, a lot of young men come along and they say, I like talking to you,
Good.
because I give them advice the best I could, and so I really enjoy your topic this morning. Really enjoy, And I came across a guy once. He said to me he has 19 children.
Mother.
And I asked him how many of them you took care of. How many of them you tell you love them?
Mm-hmm.
And he passed away now, and his first daughter never went to his funeral. So it's only show you, I don't know, children. I find a lot of young women here in St. Vincent at the moment. They have 3 and 4 children. I feel sorry for them, I feel really sorry for them. But anyway, thank you very much for listening. And I listen to you every morning. I look forward. All right?
All right.
You know that anyway.
We do. All right. Thanks very much, Mr.
Thanks very
Mason.
much indeed. All the best. Have a nice weekend.
You as well. Thank you.
Hopefully we get a nice, good topic again next week. Thanks a lot.
No
Bye.
problem. Bye. All right. So yes, folks. All right. So yes, folks. I'm not. Yeah. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
And how are you this morning?
We're good, and you?
I'm good. One quick question. Do you believe in the Bible?
I do, but I do not believe that everything needs to be applied wholesale.
Do you believe in the teachings of the Bible?
I suppose. Ask me a direct question. Ask me directly what you mean.
Then you must read Ephesians 5:22.
Okay, so you're quoting scripture, but you gotta tell me what that is.
And that is telling you that the husband is the head of the wife, which is the husband is the head of the household.
All right, this discussion.
Right, I know you don't want it, but if you believe in the Bible, you must also follow the teachings. You can't select some and leave some, okay?
But you did recognize that I said that a woman would follow a man who is leading properly, right? I cannot be following a man who, let's say, is a drunkard, who is taking the money that we are both earning together and squandering it. Why would I follow a man who is leading in that way?
Maybe there's something you ain't doing properly. That's why the man keeps drinking.
What a wow! No, it's fine. It's fine. I know you're throwing jobs, but it's fine. I know you're throwing jobs, but it's fine. You too, all right. You see how me and man doesn't end up in an argument? All right. So at this time, we are going to jump out. As we actually on the topic a little longer than we intended to, but yes, right. So folks, where possible, especially our males within society, please step in as much as you can. For those of us who grew up without fathers within our lives, uncles sometimes had to step in, and it doesn't end when we become adults either. Just saying, we still need persons in our lives, no matter what age we get to. So for, just step in, And I'm done with that topic. Dianna, any final thoughts?
No, I got distracted by a comment somebody sent in here. But anyways, they said that they have a daughter and the mother kept the daughter from them for 19 years.
That's another topic.
So, yeah,
that's another topic.
Another time for that indeed.
All right. So let's jump out at this time and take some ads.